Hello everyone, my name is Alex Stryzak and I'm doing my MPA 510 Week 3 presentation. So for my discussion this week, I really wanted to focus on Chester Barnard, and I really liked the idea of stressing the soft factors of communication and just really how many informal processes and communications we do have through work. So as you see, I have a picture of Barnard himself on the left. And we do communicate so much through work, even things we don't realize we're communicating sometimes, as you can see in the bottom right with all the different text boxes and thought bubbles coming up. And communication does play a big part in the organization. So as you can see by the doctor who dropped the patient, knowing when you're going to lift on 3 or you're going to lift on 3, go. So to summarize this theory, I would say that it really focuses on all the channels of communication and how important it is for an organization to have those stated. So there should be a formal kind of chain of command or a way to communicate your work. So if you were to communicate, if I were to communicate as a scheduler that I'm going to not be at work at our district office, I would go to the district director. I wouldn't go straight to the head boss in Washington, D.C. and say, hey, I'm not going to be in the office today, because it's the job of me to report it to my supervisor, who then reports it to their supervisor in D.C. So as you can see in the bottom right, it kind of works its way up the chain of command on its own, but if you skip a step, sometimes communication can get lost or it can be misinterpreted. And so this idea in this base does put a strong emphasis that it needs to have strong leadership. There needs to be trust in the leadership process, and that the correct people are higher up, because if people lower or people that aren't as high up in the communication chain feel like they don't trust their leader, then communication can slip and communication cannot be trusted, and it can lead to a lot of different factors. And I thought Barnard's theory really brought that up well. So let's look at the strengths and weaknesses of Barnard's idea. And to make an organization run, it's a lot of work and a lot of teamwork to get the gears moving. And you're going to have to communicate most of the time to get anything done, even the smallest of tasks in an organization. When we look at this strength, it kind of does tie into the weakness as well. There's going to be so much communicating and so much discussions that there may be discussions that may end up not being helpful to the organization. You know, it kind of seems like employees can whisper to each other, or rumors can spread, or there'll just be personal talk that doesn't involve the organization that can almost seem like wasted energy. Now, the weakness I really saw in Barnard's theory is that it doesn't really propose a solution to this issue. It more just states that this issue can arise, and it almost doesn't, except for getting true leadership that everyone can trust, which is very rare in any organization. There's no true way to fix this weakness. So let's look at a real-life example. So at the top, in the white shirt, the black tie, and the blue pants and glasses is an elected official, let's say. He's elected to serve a certain amount of people in a certain area. Below are the orange and green managers. Each one has their own office location within the area that they serve. And below them are their employees that have... So this shows the communication chain. And on the left, we have an orange manager whose employees don't quite trust him as much. They feel like he may not be the right leader for them, or that the information they give him doesn't always go to the right places or get properly handled. So actually, that red X shows how information can get cut off, actually, not reach, even though it should. On the right, we have the green manager, and his employees completely trust him. They think that all the information that they give to him is going to go into the right cause, it's going to be handled correctly, and what will be needed to be reported to the boss will be reported to the boss, and it will reflect positively on the whole organization that they serve. So as you can see, the emotions on the other workers, for the orange manager, the employees are a little more distraught. They're talking on the phone about their displeasures, while the green manager, the employees get along, they're having good communications, and all communications are flowing. And these were the references I used for this presentation on what I really think of Bernard's theory and how it really applies. I do really like the strengths and of how communication is so important, but there are the issues that the weaknesses don't seem like they could really be fixed. There isn't a way to really address these weaknesses without a change of personnel, which still might not solve the problem. However, the one thing we all can agree on at this point is that communication is very important in an organization and goes a long way in deciding how successful it is.